Okay, then shall we start now? Time is 5:09. Yes. Okay, today our session is on presenteeism, which is a very important issue nowadays. Presenteeism. Right. Uh, the meaning of presenteeism. This is a relatively new concept in HRM. And also, if you refer to almost all the HRM textbooks which are popular in the world, there is no separate chapter on presenteeism. So it indicates that this issue, this topic is a new issue, new problem. Right. But if you refer to my sustainable human resource management book, and then there's a special chapter on absenteeism and presenteeism. So still presenteeism, it is a part of the chapter. Various research studies are being carried out nowadays about presenteeism, and because of Corona also, the amount of research studies done in the field of HRM about absenteeism got increased considerably. Right. Then not like absenteeism, which I taught you in the last week. So, which is non-attendance of an employee from his or her scheduled work. There is no long history of research about presenteeism. So, absenteeism is an issue which has been intensively researched in human resource management, in organizational behavior, in organizational psychology, so these fields, mainly in HRM, right? So then Professor Jones in 2009, presenteeism referred to attending work while ill. Attending work while ill. So if you are an employee, you are supposed to attend to the work. You are supposed to be present at work. Then you come to work. So assume today, but you are ill. You are suffering from a certain illness. So irrespective of your being sick, so you come to work. Then that is presenteeism. Presenteeism occurs. So that is considered as a problem. So this is considered by most organizational scholars as a standard definition for presenteeism. Right. In 2013, in a reference document about presenteeism, Optima Global Health defines that presenteeism is characterized by the behavior of workers who, despite physical or psychological health problems requiring them to be absent, continue to report to work. So can you understand that definition? That's a somewhat comprehensive definition. So the employer, that means the organization, doesn't expect the presence of the particular employee because that employee is suffering from an illness. That employee is sick. Then the employee's presence is not expected by the employer. So in a situation where the employee's presence is not expected by the employee comes to work by ignoring his or her illness. So that illness, health problem. So that's a problem. So if you have an illness, that is a health problem. You know that. The health problem may be physical, may be psychological. physical problem or psychological problem. So you can understand the difference between physical and psychological. Corona mainly physical, but later the person may have psychological problems also. Some diseases contribute to both physical and psychological problems of the person who has that sickness, right? So then because of that, there is a reduction in employee performance because of a health problem. There is a reduction in employee performance. So therefore, then presenteeism is a problem. Presenteeism is a problem that we have to deal with, that we have to solve. According to Bowyer in 2017, as a recent definition, the presenteeism is showing up for work when one is ill or sickness presence. Sickness presence. So the person is sick, but the person comes to work. So normally the person is not supposed to come to work because the person is sick. The person has to take medicines, while being at home or somewhere, maybe even a hospital if the illness is more serious. But irrespective of the illness or the sickness, the person shows up for work due to various reasons which we will have to discuss. You should know as a learner. This is my simple definition, right? Presenteeism can be defined as attendance of an employee to work while he or she is ill physically or psychologically, or in both ways. In both ways. Assume you are a married person. Assume we will take Nimal is a married person. And Nimal has three children. So two children are seriously ill now. Assume now his two children are seriously ill, and one children is having a permanent illness. Then, as a good father, Nimal is having a problem which is psychological, health problem which is psychological, because Nimal has no a physical problem relating to health, but Nimal has a psychological problem because of the fact that his two kids are ill. One is having a permanent illness, suffering from a permanent illness. So that's an example of being psychologically ill. And physically, of course, if you have diabetic, if you have sugar, that's sugar problem, or any other problem, heart problem, any other. So physically you are ill then. Physically you are ill, right? So look at this picture so you can understand. There are four people. There are four people who are working by using their computers, and then one person, this person is not working. Instead of working, this person is sleeping. This person is sleeping. So then, so that means the person came to work while being ill. While being ill. Now, actually, the person is not working. Then what happened? What happens to his productivity? Of course, there's no productivity at all. If the person will be sleeping, for the whole day, that is the working time, then there's no productivity. Productivity will be zero. But maybe from time to time, as soon as the person engages in sleeping and again waking, starting working, and maybe the lost time, which is not productive, maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. Okay, so then, right, this look at another picture. She is at work. She came to work, and then she has signed that to indicate her attendance to work. But indeed, she is not working. At the time when she is supposed to work, she is sleeping. So this is called presenteeism. This is called presenteeism. We can assume, we have to, she is sleeping because she is having a mental problem or physical problem, or she is having both mental problem and a physical problem relating to, her health, her health. Right. Then the importance of presenteeism. Why is presenteeism very important? Indeed, it is not important. It is very important. It is very, very important. Presenteeism is the latest attack on economic and human productivity, according to Sarwala, 2006. Latest attack on economic and human productivity. So there's a tendency of some employees who have a practice of reporting to work when they are ill. So then there are certain bad consequences. There are certain bad consequences because of this. So what are the bad consequences? The employee who is sick is not capable of operating, that you can easily understand. Then reducing his or her usual level of productivity. Then coming of the sick employee, the second one, to work may cause infecting other healthy co-employees, especially corona, you think? Corona and some diseases which are pandemics, which tend to spread among the people who interact with the in the relevant way, in the effective way. Effective here means the illness becomes effective. So then the infecting other healthy co-employees. You can understand, assume a person, an employee who is suffering from corona comes to work, then what will happen? You can understand. But definitely there will be employees, who will get infected. Even customers, not only they are in this one is co-employees. When the sick employee interacts directly with customers or clients, especially in a service industry, in a bank, or in a hospital, in a retail shopping, supermarket, terrible. The sick employee interacts, when that sick employee interacts directly with customers or clients. In case of corona, we have to sympathize on the person because the symptoms of corona will come, will take some time, for its appearance, its visibility to the relevant person and to the other people, even to medical doctors. So then, there can be an employee who is suffering from corona, but that employee doesn't know. Pity on that person. Who knows, who will be such a person. So we have to sympathize. Also, we have to empathize. Then preventing them from regular visiting to buy. So then the customers, if they get infected, then how can they come to work? Not come to work, because customers do not come to work. No? So they come to purchase. They come to buy the things. Then they are revisiting. Will get stock if they get infected because of the sickness of one employee. Right. Even some customers who became sick might decide not to visit the business place again. That's also possible. It's terrible, Then there will be a big loss on the part of the employer. Some customers who got sick or affected, infected, like corona or another serious illness, fever, serious fever, and they might decide not to visit the business place again, because they are not happy about the relevant employees who interacted, who came to work while being sick. They could have informed, employees could have informed about their sickness. Employees could have been stayed at home without coming. Yes, I think you can understand. Okay, then if the employee is psychologically ill, he or she might hurt internal and external customers and other employees, peers, superiors, and subordinates in case of a manager. Sometimes, this psychological illness will be dangerous. Even this, the relevant employee might kill or might commit suicide, commit suicide. These things are also possible. So then you can understand, the seriousness of this problem. The sick employee may make mistakes in performing duties, and these mistakes may lead to damage others and properties, especially a decision maker who is sick mentally, who has a serious mental problem, who comes to work and then makes a decision. Most likely that decision is not right. That will have serious damages to other people, properties. I know when I have read one case, senior manager, administrative manager, who had serious mental problems and also the physical problems, who came to work and then who behaved, boisterously, very aggressive way, even tended to, hurt, hit some other people. So it was very difficult for the CEO to manage that person. But indeed, that person was a very effective manager, very good person. Morality was very good. But suddenly his behavior changed. He became volatile. He became violent. He became boisterous. He became aggressive, and he couldn't, see people. He started hating people. So ultimately, he had to be taken out by his best friend. His best friend was called by the relevant manager, the relevant CEO, who had a good understanding about controlling such people. Then the best friend came, and then best friend took the person out of the business. Then the relevant management gave sufficient time, and he was requested, not requested, he was commanded not to come to work for a certain period of time. Okay, so then look at this picture. Contribution to the cost of lost productivity annually in the UK, United Kingdom. What are you seeing? So you are seeing a picture which has an iceberg. You can see this side, above the sea, you can see that, or people can see it. But this side, the people can't see inside. This is outside, this is inside. This is outside, this is inside. So then this is called psychological presenteeism, caused by one or more of poor leadership. Here the poor organization culture, poor working environment, low personal resilience. So these are some, these four reasons. Here there are 4 reasons which cause psychological presenteeism. The causes of presenteeism we have to learn. After this, I will go to that part. Reduced performance due to psychological presenteeism. In sterling pounds, so you can see the cost. You can see, it's very, very much. It's very, very much sterling pound. Okay, so then psychological presenteeism, the people who are suffering from psychological problems. Nowadays, there are many people, who are suffering from psychological problems. Not like Corona. Corona also is a serious problem currently. According to one research study, I can remember, if you take 5 employees, 1 employee is having a psychological problem. That means psychologically one employee is sick out of 5 people. The sick employee may tend to be sicker due to working. Again, sick employee may tend to be sicker, more and more serious. The illness becomes more and more severe. The employee may become exhausted. Then, reimbursing their medical expenditure. Then using other medical facilities provided by the organization. The demand for those things definitely will get increased. That is expensive. You can understand medical expenditure is not little. It is much. Medical facilities are indeed expensive. Sickness presence may lead to sickness absence then again. The employee comes without considering the illness, then ultimately the employee has to take the leave, sickness absence, for several days, even several weeks. Right. Several studies done internationally reveal that cost of presenteeism are huge. And also the cost of presenteeism exceed the cost of absenteeism. So that normally we think absenteeism is more serious than presenteeism. It is not so according to research studies. Presenteeism is more serious than absenteeism. The cost of presenteeism exceed the cost of absenteeism. It's not an opinion. It's not an idea. It is, it was found based on research studies. Based on research studies. It costs companies, billions of dollars a year. So in the form of insurance premiums or employee claims. So this, so one researcher observes that as companies struggle to rein in health cost, care costs, most overlook that may be the dollars, US dollars, 150 billion problem. You see, imagine, the cost of presenteeism, the nearly invisible drain on worker productivity caused by some common ailments as hay fever, headaches, and even heartburn, heartburning. Right. 5 researchers in 2009 found that presenteeism leads to emotional exhaustion. Employees who are suffering from presenteeism are likely to be less productive, make more mistakes, provide lower quality service, and be less innovative. Having bad, if you are sick, then how can you think in an innovative way? Difficult. Repercussions, bad repercussions, right, for the organization and its managers. So mistakes or intellectual accidents. It's a technical term, intellectual accidents made by employees who are mentally absent can be extremely costly. Extremely costly, So assume there's a surgeon who has to do 5 operations in this week. Assume that person becomes seriously mentally ill. Then terrible, terrible. The intellectual accidents may occur. The cost of such intellectual accidents of that medical surgeon will be, extremely costly. Will be extremely higher, very high. Even losing all the lives of the people who are patients, who are supposed to be operated by this surgeon. Then another, UK, yes, according to a discussion paper published in May 2011 by Business in the Community. A registered charity in UK, Center for Mental Health. Now that organization calculated the cost of presenteeism. So presenteeism from mental ill health alone costs this country, the UK economy, US, sterling pound, not US, sterling pound, 15.1 billion per annum per year, while absenteeism cost only, that the amount is less than sterling pound 8.4 billion. So, and research shows that presenteeism is hugely costly to employers, but all too often ignored. That's the thing. So many organizations, even in the UK, they are not aware about the huge cost of presenteeism. They don't know that the cost of presenteeism exists, the cost of absenteeism. Even in Sri Lanka, there may be many managers who don't know about this problem, presenteeism, or maybe they have heard roughly, but they have not yet become serious about this problem. They have not done any calculation of the cost of presenteeism problem. I know personally, because of doctoral studies, because of doctoral supervisions. So my doctoral students, I know even in very large organizations which are profitable, there are there is this problem, seriously, presenteeism. Some managers now they are becoming aware of this problem. They have to be serious in this problem. I don't know about your training organizations. You can think of that. This is a good example, good picture. The person is, handicapped, physically, seriously ill, maybe due to a vehicle accident or something. But still, he came to the organization and now he is working by using a computer. Assume this is a scientist. This is an economist who has to take, serious national economic decisions, which are going to be affected, implemented by or decided and implemented by the central bank. What will happen? It's terrible. We can argue that, he also thinks that his mind is not ill, even though he is physically ill, but his mind is working. He thinks that's why he came to work. But research studies suggest that definitely there is a reduction of productivity. There's a reduction of good thinking. Innovative thinking, gets dropped seriously because of presenteeism. So these slides also show the importance of presenteeism. So because of time limitation, I'm not going to read and discuss. Okay, then 8 signs of presenteeism in your staff. How do you know that? Normally whether there is a big problem called presenteeism. Signs. So they are the symptoms of the problem of presenteeism. So making more mistakes than usual. So if you are seeing that, that may be that may be a signal of having presenteeism problem in the employee force of the organization. Then producing work of a lower standard, once higher standard, now lower standard. Maybe because of owing to presenteeism, the lower productivity, reduce attention to details. Now, when the person is psychologically ill, when the person is physically ill, attention to detail is very difficult. Think of you, and think of a day where you were seriously ill. Then could you study properly as a learner? Could you remind the relevant concept properly? Attention to detail, especially when working. You know, normally employees are not, employees are matured people. Senior managers are more matured people. Top managers are more matured, older people. So when they become sick, it's very difficult for them to give the due attention to detail. Then arriving late, leaving early, missing lunch breaks, working long hours, then working while sick. Okay, that's the meaning of presenteeism, even though that has been given here, right? Anyway, so then the looking tired, exhausted, Okay, so these are the 8 signs of presenteeism in your staff. Because this was not prepared by me, I took this from the internet. So but here the working while sick is the meaning of presenteeism. So therefore we can ignore this one. But others, we can consider signs. So then numbering now 7 signs of presenteeism. Useful picture. Right. Now the courses of presenteeism. The first one, the first course that I am going to discuss, that you have to learn, workload. This is a course, a main course of presenteeism. So if you are intelligent, you can understand. Assume you are an employee, so you have a lot of work to be done in the organization. A lot of work to be done. A lot of amount of work is waiting for you, waiting for your presence. Then willingly or unwillingly, irrespective of your illness, you have to go to work and then engage in that work to finish the workload. So when the workload gets increased, then tendency to come to work while being sick will get increased. There's a positive relationship between workload and presenteeism. Positive relationship between workload and presenteeism. Another course, a major course, pressure from co-employees. Pressure from co-employees. So there is an employee who is working as a team member. So then teamwork is collective. There's a share of the teamwork to be done by each team member. So if that particular employee doesn't come to work, then other members will be in trouble. Assume 1/10 of the work, which is collective work, has to be performed that particular employee. That employee becomes sick now. Then thinking now today, assume today, should I go now? If he or she feels that team members are waiting, team members are pressurizing. So assume, this employee gives a call, indicating that, telling that I am now sick. So then please, I can't come today. I have to be at home. I have to go to see a medical doctor. So then I have to be at home. Then, some of the members, pressurize like this. No, how come, forget about this illness, forget about this illness, this work, we have to do that. We have to finish this order by the end of this week. So if you don't come, then how can we finish? Then our bonus, what will happen to our bonus? What will happen to our leave? So therefore, you have to come. Forget about your illness. Something like that. Pressure coming from co-employees will make a sick employee to come to work by ignoring his or her sickness. If there is no pressure, then instead of the earlier situation, assume the employee faces this type of situation. The team leader and all the members say, no, don't come. Be at home. Go to see that medical doctor and get the relevant treatment, and then get that treatment. Even you take 2 days, 3 days, no problem. We will complete your work also. We will complete your work also. We will work extra because you have been loyal to us. You are an important team member. So don't worry. Then there's no pressure. Then that type of employee definitely will stay at home, doesn't come to work. Then there's no presenteeism. So this means there's a positive relationship between pressure from co-employees and presenteeism. When the pressure gets increased, presenteeism also gets increased. When the pressure goes down, presenteeism also goes down. Pressure from immediate superior. In the same way you can understand. Immediate superior, the boss, the immediate superior. If the immediate superior can understand, has the right amount of sympathy, has the right amount of empathy, then most likely that type of immediate superior will tell you, stay at home. I will approve your leave. Okay, 2 days. How many days do you need? All right, 2 days. Take 2 days as sick leave. Don't come to work, right? Okay, I will manage. I will use another subordinate to do your work. Don't worry. That means there's no pressure from the immediate superior that will lead to no presenteeism. Right. Concerns for colleagues. This is difference from pressure from colleagues. Colleagues, so we can say peers. Colleagues mean peers, co-employees. Here there's no pressure coming from peers, but the employee thinks of the difficulty that his or her peers will have to face owing to this particular employee's absence, his or her absence. Therefore, he or she thinks, decides, thinks and then decides to come to work by ignoring the fact that he or she is ill. If I don't go to work, my friends, will be in trouble. If I don't go to work, then they will not be able to find the keys. They will not be able to find that file or this file. So likewise, even there are some customers who are very friendly. They are supposed to come today to buy. So therefore, I must be there. So like concerns for colleagues. Here the colleagues, not concerns for customers. Concerns for customers also, we can consider as a cause. Job essentiality. Job essentiality. I think several times I taught about job essentiality. The other concept is job exclusivity. So what do you mean by job essentiality? That's the degree to which the job impacts lives of others. So if job is a very important job, that means that that job has a serious impact on the lives of many people. So then if the relevant job holder doesn't perform that job, then the lives of many people will get unfavorably affected. Unfavorably affected. An example, a surgeon, a serious scientist in a manufacturing organization. So like, so then maybe in a crisis situation, security, a serious national security problem, then the relevant army command or the relevant head of the army operations. So that job has, a serious impact on lives of many people. So therefore, if the job essentiality is high, then the relevant employee has a tendency, has a more higher tendency to come to work, even though that person is ill, that person is suffering from a certain ailment because of job essentiality. So there's a positive relationship between job essentiality and presenteeism. Then job exclusivity. So what do you mean by job exclusivity? That's the degree of difficulty of replacing the job holder. Assume you are an employee who is doing a job which has a high level of job exclusivity. That means it is, I am your boss as you, I am your superior. So that means it is difficult for me to find a replacement, substitute for you. Assume it will take 2 years to find a person like you. Then what will happen? So what's the relationship between job exclusivity and presenteeism? Is it positive or is it negative? So you are the relevant person now, relevant employee, you know, whose job is having a high level of job exclusivity. That means, you know, it is difficult for me to find another person. Then you have more power. That means, you know, job exclusivity, high level of job exclusivity will give you a higher power. Then you most likely you decide when you are sick, you decide not to come to work. Not to come to work because I can't find a suitable person for you. So then there's no threat of disciplinary action. That is not hard for a difficult to replace employee. Difficult to replace employee. I can't take a disciplinary action against you. I can't tell you, no, forget about your illness. Come to work. Otherwise, I will find another person. Otherwise, I will not give this promotion for you. Otherwise, I will not approve your salary increment. These things cannot be done by me. If your job, you know, if you are a person, job holder, who is having a high level of job exclusivity. Job exclusivity. Okay, understood? Then there's a positive relationship between job exclusivity and presenteeism. So assume, you know, there is an employee whose job exclusivity is of very low level. That means there are so many people like that person. If that person becomes absent, you know, it is easy to find many people to replace that person. Then there is a high level of threat of disciplinary action. So that is hard. That is not hard, you know. That is easy. That is easy. The threat of disciplinary action is hard for a difficult to replace employee. So you can see I have mentioned here. But the threat of disciplinary action is easy, you know, easy, not difficult for a you know, for a easy to replace employee. You know, for an easiness, I mean, it is easy to replace the person. Maybe within 2 days, within 3 days, within 1 week. So in case of an employee who is really a serious item of human capital, unmatched, then there's no perhaps substitute. So whenever that person becomes ill, that person can take the lead. Even for a time that person wants to really take. This type of bargaining situation, like, you know, a bargaining situation of this type of situation. You know, let me give an example. Right, you are the employee who is an unmatched person. So I am the boss. Then you tell, you know, I am sick, and then I have to meet that doctor. I have to meet this doctor, and I have to take that medicine. I have to take this medicine. So then to do all these things, it will take at least I need 2 weeks. It will need to, you know, have 2 weeks to get full recovery. 2 weeks. Then I can't say no. How come 2 weeks? Only take 1 week maximum. But if you are a serious person, an unmatched person, because your level of job exclusivity is very high, then you can take. Because I can't, you know, I can't find a substitute. Also, if I am a serious person of presenteeism, then I am supposed to protect your health. I am supposed to think of your well-being. Then I will tell, okay, yes, you are a very important person. And then please, you know, take all these medicines and all these things, and then get recovered soon. Right. Then job insecurity. What is this job insecurity? That means job is not permanent. Job is casual, or job is temporary. That type of employee has a more tendency to come to work. irrespective of the illness, by ignoring the illness. So in order to generate a positive impression of the employee within the immediate superior, assume who is supposed to extend the probationary period or the temporary period or the casual period of employment. Then even though you are, assume you are such an employee, then you want to make an impression to your boss, like this, even though I am sick, I will come to work. Showing that I am very loyal, I am serious about the the work, I am serious about treating the customers, doing the works and all. Then boss, manager who is not seriously aware of presenteeism and who doesn't have a serious understanding of presenteeism tends to get attracted because of the presenteeism of the employee. Then tends to conclude that this employee is a very good employee, without considering, without taking sick absence. Right. Okay, then job insecurity. So you can understand, the greater the job insecurity, the higher the tendency, to have this problem, presenteeism. The higher the tendency on the part of the employee to come to work while being ill. Okay, then, right. So this is, the research studies, this one, contingent or non-permanent employees exhibit less sickness absence than their more permanent counterparts. Furthermore, the recorded absence rate of hospital employees who were made permanent from fixed contract nearly doubled, along with their perception of job security, to approximate that of permanent employees. So the recorded absence rate of hospital employees who were made permanent from fixed contract, once the relevant employee got permanency, then the tendency is to take the leave because of an illness. But as long as the employee is under a contract, or the employee is a non-permanent employee, then when that person gets sick, the person doesn't like to be upset. The person comes to work. So therefore, there are research studies. These are not mere observations or inferences of academics. Right. Backup, that is another course of presenteeism problem. Here, backup means someone to help person who is sick. Assume you are an employee, there is no backup, there is no someone to help you when you are sick in the organization. Then because there is no person, then you are compelled to go there. Assume there's a big reason now that will demand your presence to the work. Assume there's a serious customer who is supposed to come by 10:30. Then you should be there at least at 10, because there's no backup. Then you have to ignore your illness and you have to come to work. So therefore, lack of backup will increase the severity of this problem, presenteeism. But availability of backup will reduce the presenteeism problem. Then absence policy. Absence policy. So normally the some elements of an absence policy. So like first one, if you take, there is no paid sick leave. There's a threat of disciplinary action for taking leave, and there's a requirement of doctor's notes for sickness. This type of policy most likely will increase presenteeism. But when there's a liberal sick pay plan, less presenteeism occurs. So okay, for assume liberal sick, the absent policy. Assume there is an absent policy which doesn't have a requirement of doctor's notes for sickness. Also, definitely there's not threat of disciplinary action for taking leave. Also, there's paid sick leave. These things, that type of absent policy will what? Will increase presenteeism. But this type of, what has been mentioned here on the slide, this type of absent policy will reduce presenteeism. So then if you think, the presenteeism problem is a serious one, and if you want to reduce, this may be a solution, or this will be a right solution, right? So solutions, strategies, after this we will discuss. Restructuring or downsizing. There's another cause of presenteeism. Restructuring, changing, various, divisions, parts, maybe new departments can get added. All departments, at least one department can get, redundant. These things, restructuring. Downsizing means, reducing, even the reducing layers of management, levels of management. Downsizing usually involves reducing number of employees, number of departments, number of sales outlets. So or perhaps increase in sales outlets, but administrative and other, research, so other things, the organization can decide to reduce. So normally then restructuring results in redundancies, which make, what do you mean by redundancies? So that means we make employees jobless. So assume we have 100 employees, 25 employees we don't need. So therefore we have to terminate them, because there is, because of restructuring. We have decided to close one department or two departments, one section or two sections. Then those employees, who were working in those sections, no longer are needed. Then they have to be redundant. A redundancy means, a permanent stoppage of the service of the employee. A redundancy means a permanent stoppage of the service of the employee. It's not a temporary stoppage. So what is the technical term for temporary stoppage of the employee's service? Can you remember? That is layoff. Layoff. We have talked about layoff, right? Okay, then. So therefore, if restructuring or downsizing is happening, then the employees will be worried about taking time off for sickness. Then because of this, there will be an increase of presenteeism. They will they think that even just when they are sick, but they ignore the sickness and then they come to work, then they will be able to get the attraction of impression of the relevant decision makers who make redundant decisions, and then who may decide not to terminate such employees who did not take sickness leave. Right. Bonuses, incentives for attendance, that is another reason of presenteeism. Excellence attendance, assume, is rewarded by giving a considerable bonus or considerable incentive. Then employees who are motivated to get that money, get that incentive, tend to come to work while being sick. But there's no incentive for attendance, which is excellent. Then when the employee gets sick, the employee tends to be absent, tends to take the sickness leave. Right. Then loneliness, that's another problem. In countries like Sri Lanka, this problem is not that serious, but I know, and I have observed that in most of the developed countries, this loneliness problem is a serious one. So there are many employees, who are alone, living alone. They don't have families. They don't have loved people. beloved people. They don't have. They don't have intimate individuals, spouses, children, intimate people who really love them, who are really associating with. So that's a human state, in which a person does not have loved ones. So then a lonely employee, not long employee, a lonely employee, an employee who is suffering from this loneliness problem, tends to be present while ill, because there is no one, who is really loving that person and then influencing that person to be absent, take a rest. There's no one. No pressure coming from loved ones because of their love to the person, loneliness. But of course, if there is an employee who has many loved ones, so then of course the pressure coming from them is to what? Don't go home. So sorry, don't go to work. If you are going to be terminated, don't worry. We will protect you. We don't need that money. So therefore, the relationship between loneliness and presenteeism is positive. Okay, right. Then workaholic behavior. So there are some employees who are really workaholics. I hope you know the differences among a workaholic, a negoholic. Workaholic, negoholic, and alcoholic. Who is an alcoholic? Alcoholic is a person who is, who got addicted to liquor. Addicted to liquor. So that means that person cannot live without liquor. Always, every day, that person takes liquor. That person is an alcoholic. Of course, you are not supposed to be an alcoholic, right? So then, what is the negoholic? A negoholic is a person who is a person of negativity, who always looks at things negatively, doesn't see positive things of the people, positive things of the things. But a workaholic is a person who is fond of work, who is fond of work. Without work, that person cannot live, at the expense of personal life. Workaholic is a person, okay, right. So here you can see that a workaholic prefers long work days and has an ongoing work style. So these characteristics more likely prevent him or her from being absent when sick. So there is no such things as, the thank goodness it's Friday. What is this? Thank goodness it is Friday syndrome. Deviyanti Stuti Veva, other Sikuradani. So that means, if it is Friday, so in Sri Lanka, even in many countries, Saturday will be a holiday, Sunday will be a holiday. Not like, not like for us, Saturday is not a holiday. Sunday is not a holiday. But for some people, even medical doctors maybe. But normally, for normal majority of employees, Sunday is a holiday. Saturday is a holiday. At least half of Saturday. So then thank goodness it's Friday. Then the person feels very happy. When the Friday approaches, when the Friday came. But for a workaholic, this type of syndrome is not seen, is not applicable. In fact, the vice versa. Saturday, other Friday, that type of thing. So then that person hates the approach of Friday, because it reminds that 2 days will be holidays. Those holidays will not require the relevant person to come to work. Those 2 holidays will require the person to be at home or off the job, maybe at anywhere, but not to the workplace. Okay, so then the workaholic, I have seen several definitions of a workaholic given by the relevant experts. So then the workaholic, is not an employee who really enjoys by working. That's not a workaholic. Workaholic is a person who has, how can I say, yes, who got unsuccessful at various aspects of life, but very successful, extremely successful at the work life. So normally workaholic is that type of person. Okay, so then the workaholic behavior will definitely increase presenteeism, because a workaholic doesn't care sickness. Increase job satisfaction. There's another cause. A highly satisfied employee may have a tendency to come to work when ill, because of the reason that the employee draws a huge satisfaction by coming to work, by engaging in, doing the job, in performing the duties of the job. Right. Then interventions for managing presenteeism. So therefore, several causes, loneliness, workaholic behavior, pressure from peers, pressure from superiors, immediate superiors. So likewise. So these are the causes of presenteeism. So now solutions for presenteeism. So in fact, based on causes, we can develop solutions. Based on causes, we can develop solutions. Right. So it is essential to have an extra care when it comes to managing presenteeism. So what is this extra care? Extra care when it comes to managing presenteeism. So read this one. The consider causes of presenteeism such as increased motivation and increased effective organizational commitment, that I skip and I did not discuss, even though it has been given here. So in this paragraph, so it will not be wise, So assume increased motivation and increased effective. See this one, increased job satisfaction. Assume now you understand that increased job satisfaction will increase presenteeism. Then you are going to decide to reduce job satisfaction. Then you are a fool, really. You are a fool. That is, that is not the right decision. So in fact, we must be happy when there is an increased job satisfaction of employees, because increased job satisfaction has many positive results relating to employees' productivity, employees' happiness, customer satisfaction. Customers, who depend on that employee. Normally, you must have heard that satisfied employees make customers satisfied. There's a strong relationship. There are many research studies confirming that relationship. So therefore, they don't decide to reduce the job satisfaction. Even, workaholic behavior, right, we can decide to reduce in order to reduce the presenteeism. The loneliness, that is out of the control of the manager, So assume you have a loneliness problem. Assume I am your boss. It's very difficult for me to give a solution for this, because this is, this is owing to your personal life decisions and philosophy of your personal life and norms of your personal life. Yes, right. So like bonus incentives for attendance, maybe we can reduce this, or we can develop a new program. But the thing is, if you reduce bonuses for attendance, then what will happen? What will happen? The absenteeism rate will get increased. Again, absenteeism rate has problems. So therefore, that's the meaning. You have to be very careful when you deal with presenteeism. When you deal with presenteeism, an extra care is needed. when it comes to managing presenteeism. Okay, so therefore we have to make sure that we should not take actions which will increase absenteeism, because absenteeism is costly. Seriously, that we learned last week, right? Another course of person, yes, these things, okay, right. So it is important to mention here that to eradicate presenteeism may not be attainable, but it needs to be minimized. That's so therefore, total eradication of presenteeism, eradicate presenteeism. Total, the zero level. We can't have a target, zero about presenteeism. We will have zero presenteeism. That is not an attainable target. Also, we should not aim at making presenteeism zero. We should not do that. It's not a wise thing. However, what we have to do is we have to minimize it. So therefore, under managing presenteeism, we mean minimizing presenteeism. We cannot eradicate this problem of presenteeism. We should not do reducing presenteeism at the expense of the what you call the presence. Really, increasing, while increasing absenteeism, we should not do reducing presenteeism. Okay, all right. To create an awareness of presenteeism, that's an important intervention. The relevant people, especially managers, HR people, they should have a good understanding about, good awareness of presenteeism. What is this? Why is it considered as more expensive? Why does the cost of presenteeism exceed the cost of absenteeism? And what are the causes of presenteeism? So what are the solutions for presenteeism? Why is it not possible to eradicate presenteeism? These things, about these things, a sufficient degree of awareness has to be created within the relevant business owners and top managers, also human resource managers. Right. Then to develop a workplace policy on presenteeism, we have to develop a scheme, a policy. The policy has objectives, principles, and all these. I think you are. Some people, you are still having your training, or some people may have finished their trainings, practical trainings. Then I hope that you have studied several policies of HRM, several policies taken by the relevant organizations to solve HR-related problems. Please, please get that understanding. The actual policies followed by your company regarding actual HR problems. Right. A workplace policy that contains the meaning of absenteeism and general guidelines. Even this corona case, every organization must have a workplace policy on corona, prevention of corona, or the management of corona, or living with corona, or controlling corona. Right. Then to train all the people concerned. So managers are required to acquire not only an adequate ability to deal with presenteeism problem, but also an adequate interest in dealing with that. This is interest, that is about attitude, the motivation. Then to offer paid sick leave. If you don't give paid sick leave, then the presenteeism problem will get increased. So therefore, legally, if there are leaves, which can be taken, which may be taken by the employees when they are sick According to law, we should not stop such taking. That is even illegal. So it is good to offer paid sick leave to all employees to take when they genuinely become sick. A special long-term paid sick leave also we can give, at least for a period of 1 month. Sick leave, maybe 50% with pay, 50% no pay, or maybe a reduced pay if the company can afford. To allow employees to take sick leave, yes. So one thing is, this one, to offer paid sick leave. There may be a difference between this one and this one. Assume in the company there's a good policy about paid sick leave. So there are, relevant terms and conditions about what you call this sick paid leave, paid sick leave. But when an employee comes to take that sick leave, then there are barriers coming from superiors, coming from managers, coming from the HR department. That is not good. That's why if there is a genuine person who is genuinely ill, needing a serious treatment that requires that employee to be at home for at least 5 days, then we have to allow that employee to take sick leave. Make sure that right supervision occurs. So supervisor behavior is a very important thing in minimizing presenteeism. Here the ceteris paribus. What is ceteris paribus? When other things remain constant. Employees working for a supervisor who treats them well experience less stress and presumably less presenteeism than employees working for one who treats them poorly. So if the supervision is bad, if the supervision is tough, if the supervision is authoritative, if the supervision is not, sympathetic, not empathetic, then it is hard for employees to take a sick leave when they become genuinely ill, then increasing presenteeism. But otherwise, reducing presenteeism. Then to develop a culture of trust. What is this culture of trust? Please try to understand this, an important message. The presenteeism will fade away as trust increases. Once trust is established, employees feel okay about staying home to take care of themselves. And work is a thing you do, not a place you do. According to Kaini, Kaini, assume my pronouncing is correct. Okay, ND means the relevant date is not, the relevant year is not available. But anyway, it is interesting, please get this message. Work is a thing that you do. It's not a place, where you go. It's not a place. Work is not a place. Work is a thing that you do. Work, if work is a place, then you have to go to that place. But if it is a thing you have to do, then anywhere, you can be anywhere and then you can do that thing. So like, now I am doing now online teaching through the Zoom to you. This is not, much comfortable compared with our traditional teaching, your traditional learning. Of course, there are certain advantages of online teaching, definitely, especially in a time like this, Corona time. Then you are safe and I am also safe, but you meet your need of learning. I meet my need of teaching. Right. You don't need to come to the university by spending time, by spending certain effort, by spending certain money for traveling and meal, it's the same thing, occurs to me also, all these. So therefore there are advantages, of course. But physically, listening to like this is not that comfortable. But anyway, what to do? So don't worry, you are young. I am an old person now. I'm not that old, but anyway, I'm an old person. So then for me, it is more difficult compared with you. You are young, you are not that. But anyway, yes, there might be students who are suffering from certain illnesses, eyes problems, so like then more difficult. Yes, I can understand. Right. So then because teaching is a work. Teaching is a work. That's the thing that I should do. It's not a place that I should go. So therefore, because it is teaching is a thing that I should do, then I am at home. I do that work. How many types of work really we do by being at home. But anyway, unfortunately, remember this also. This telecommuting, cannot be used for all the jobs, especially in manufacturing sector. You can't do that. The machines, you can't stay at homes. The offices cannot be established. This cannot be constructed at homes. For certain products which require machinization, which require machines, automated technology. So then the relevant manufacturing employees, then they have to go to the factory. Then we can interpret that type of work is a place. But anyway, right. Even working places can be changed. Working places can be changed. Right. Work shifting, So then according to these, yes, this person, Brett Kaine, who is Senior Vice President and General Manager, Online Service Division, emphasizes to create a flexible environment, what he calls work shifting, where focus is on resource delivery. Now, that's the thing, resource you have to deliver, not just when and where employees are working. That's why several times I have mentioned this one at the final analysis. Resources are the most important things, not the behaviors. Attendance also includes it comes under behavior, attitudes, knowledge skills, all these behaviors. They are important definitely, but at the final analysis, outcomes, the results are the most important for achieving goals of the organization. Right. To make presenteeism, to measure presenteeism. Several times I have mentioned that you have learned even from other teachers that nothing can be successful unless it is measured. So therefore, if we want to succeed in minimizing presenteeism, we have to do measuring presenteeism. It is not an easy task, yes. Retrospective frequency measure is popular. Retrospective frequency measure. What did this say? Something, retrospective frequency of presenteeism. What is this? The Aronson and colleagues, associates, as in Professor Johns in 2009, they have developed a frequency, they have developed, yes, this question, right? Okay, oral question. The question is, has it happened over the previous 12 months that you have gone to work despite feeling that you really should have taken sick leave because of your state of health? A long problem may be difficult for you to get it at once. We have to read several times. But anyway, I think if you read several times, you can understand. The period that we have to consider is the last 12 months, or simply the last year. When you think of the last year, then yes, how many incidents of going to work while being sick? So then the answer will tell you the presenteeism. The response format consists never, once, 2, 5 times, or over 5 times. If it is over 5 times, then assume 100 employees give this answer. Then there's a serious problem of presenteeism over 5 times. Okay, so majority of employees tell, have this answer. Never. That means there's no, the presenteeism problem is not serious, or there's no a problem called presenteeism. Okay, then, I will do an activity later after finishing this PowerPoint presentation. That is also about measuring presenteeism. That is called Stanford Presenteeism Scale. That's a very popular instrument to measure presenteeism. Okay, so then I will do this. I will go to that after finishing this presentation. Right, then formulate and implement a well-being strategy. Well-being strategy, that's about the health, promoting physical health and also psychological health of all the employees in the organization. So it needs to be a long-term strategy. It's not a short-term strategy. Health is a long-term thing. That is with the employee until that person works, until that person leaves. I mean, from this world, leaves the organization and then dies, until the person dies. Health is a concept which is physical, also which is psychological. So therefore, programs for managing employee stress, of course, are of importance. Many times you have learned about stress and stress management. So the programs for managing employee stress come under this well-being strategy. They will definitely contribute to first psychological health and then physical health. The strategy should encourage a healthy lifestyle, according to Aminuddin, a Malaysian scholar, which suggests that employees, have a balanced diet of nutritious foods. So what is about this balanced diet? Balanced diet. So if you go to internet and then search, you will be able to find out certain pictures, certain instructions, certain specifications of so-called balanced diet. Then normally, even according to our domestic, our lifestyles of ancestors, old people, fathers of fathers, the fathers of fathers of fathers, mothers like that. So balanced diet, I think certain hints and certain specifications about a balanced diet of nutritious food. Then cut back on fats, foods with high cholesterol levels and salt. Especially if you have high blood pressure, then the salt, taking salt is too much salt. That's a serious problem. I mean, cause of increasing the high blood pressure, and then it's very difficult for you to get rid of that problem or control that problem. Try to be neither overweight nor underweight. Okay, so so please, it's very important. Of course, you are dealing with the studies, and then you have many problems. Now, exam exam But anyway, this is life. What to do. We have to face these things. You must have surveillance. You must have the ability to understand. You must have the ability to face these things. You are still young people. Hopefully, health-wise, you are right. You are good. Maybe you are very good. If you think of, if you calculate your heart rate, if you calculate your sugar level, if you calculate your pressure level, if you calculate your so other things, I hope that you are very good. So it's okay. This is this is the life. This is the life. So there are advantages of problems. There are disadvantages also. You must be able to manage. That's why you are learning management, you are learning HRM. So we should deal with solving problems. Life is indeed a problem, but you must be able to solve it. Then you will succeed. Right. So then, yes. So therefore, please be concerned with, not to be overweight and also underweight. Do not smoke or drink alcohol to excess. I know that Samara, mama singaling කියන්නේ Samara lamai, then දුම්බීමට හුරු වෙලා, අරක්කු බීමට හුරු වෙලා. දැන් ගෑනු ළමයිනුත් ඒවා කරනවායි කියලා ආරංචි. සමහර යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල. ඉතින් මේවා ඔන්ලයින් වල කතා කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කොහොමත් හොඳ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා දැන් අපි දැන් මම කවදාවත් ඒ කියන්නේ බොන්නේ නැහැ අරක්කු, බොන්නේ නැහැ සිගරට්. ඒ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට බැරි. විශේෂයෙන් පිරිමි ළමයි. So so I can't understand, what the hell these people are going to get, because of smoking, because of drinking alcohol. They are losing really in many ways. They are losing in many ways. Never become a person of smoking. Never become a person of drinking alcohol. Of course, you must be a person of drinking natural water. They learn to handle the stress, of course. You are having stress now. 2 times, your examination got postponed. I know that. You are in stress. You are in stress. Maybe some students, I don't know, they don't participate in this lecture because of language problem. I don't know. But single in final year then language problem at the end of the So they, so then, please, be serious. Learn to handle stress. Then exercise regularly and have regular medical checkups, especially for matured people. It's very important. Have regular medical checkups. Right. Then I finished the presentation. If you have any questions, you can unmute and you can raise. Otherwise, now we will take a break for 5 minutes. Okay, now shall we take a break for 5 minutes? Okay, then shall we resume? Now go to activity 1, the skill builder. You can see the following is the Stanford Presenteeism scale. So this is a famous scale of, famous instrument used to measure presenteeism. So that was developed by some scholars in Stanford University School of Medicine, also jointly owned by the company Merck and Co. Incorporation. So then you can see this is a copyright material. You can use this for teaching, for learning purpose. Of course, I am using this only for teaching purpose, right? Okay, so you can see, right, strongly the Likert scale, you are very familiar with that, right? So if you take this, so then because, of course, now you are not an employee, but you can assume, you can assume because of my, this star marks. What is this? Here you can see. Not that the words back pain, cardiovascular problem, relating to heart, illness, stomach problem, or other similar descriptors can be substituted for the words health problem in any of these items. Okay, so what do you mean by health problem? So these illnesses, right? So any insignificant health, health problem. Okay, then because of my health problem, the stresses of my job were much harder to handle, So then, strongly agree, right here. What does it mean? Strongly agree means increasing presenteeism. Strongly disagree means reducing presenteeism. Despite having my health problem, I was able to finish hard tasks in my work. So that means the person went to work and engage in work, finishing work. So then I strongly agree means increasing presenteeism. They strongly disagree, reducing presenteeism. And my health problem distracted me from taking pleasure in my work. That means what? Strongly disagree means increasing presenteeism. Strongly agree means reducing presenteeism. I felt hopeless about finishing certain work tasks due to my health problem. I felt hopeless. So it implies, that the person couldn't do the work. The person couldn't engage in the work while being sick. So therefore, strongly disagree means what? Strongly disagree. Increasing presenteeism. Strongly agree, reducing presenteeism. Then at work, I was able to focus on achieving my goals despite my work. Easy to understand this statement, right? So then he strongly disagree, reducing presenteeism. Strongly agree, increasing presenteeism. Despite having my health problem, I felt energetic enough to complete all my work. So that means, the person could finish all the work despite having the illness. Strongly disagree means reduced presenteeism. Strongly agree means increased presenteeism. Okay, so then you can get the total and then you can use the interpretation. So what is the interpretation here? So attempt to understand the Stanford presenteeism scale. Does it measure sickness percent or another form of presenteeism? sickness presence. Yes, it does measure sickness presence, not another form of presenteeism. There might be, there are other forms of presenteeism which I have not yet taught. So maybe depending on the time I will come to. So for example, here, there is another form of presenteeism. People, the employee is not, the employee came to work, then signed to indicate that the person started working, but genuinely for several hours or for a considerable time, the person doesn't engage in the official duties. The person does engaging in something else relating to personal life or another type of life. That is another form of presenteeism. Okay, but here usually so far, we learned that presenteeism is sickness presence. When the employee is suffering from the ailment, irrespective of the ailment, the employee comes to work. That is presenteeism. Okay, then yes. Then what implications do you have, right? Because this is how many items here? 6 items. How many items? 6 items. So then you can have a scale, from 5 to 30. From 5 to the maximum 30, because there are 6 items. So 6 into 5, you will get, yes. How to interpret? 6 into 5. So you will get 30. You will get 30. Then the minimum 6 into 1. 6 into 1. Then you will get 5. 5. You will get 5. Then you can develop this, scale. You can develop the scale. 5 to 10, then 10 to 15, then 15 to 20, then 20 to 25, then 25 to 30. So assume your score. Let me take it as a singular one. So your score is assume 25, or your score is 25. That means your presenteeism related to you is high. If your score is between 5 and 10, you don't have a presenteeism problem at very low level. Okay, all right. Then activity 2, a critical incident. PP was the chef of a medium-sized hotel called The Elegance, which has been growing in its business for the last 5 years. Several large organizations, including universities and professional organizations, are its corporate customers. Corporate customers. So there was a large international conference organized jointly by a professional organization and a university the last week. The university had held several academic and non-academic functions in the hotel and was satisfied with its services, including food and beverage. Okay, all right? All right. Then since several weeks, PP had been suffering, this chef, the employee, had been suffering from several domestic problems. As they had been too personal, neither the hotel chief operation manager nor his immediate manager were not informed. Then the serious people in the organization, superior to this person, they don't know about his personal problems, because his personal problems, which are domestic problems, they were too intimate, too personal. So therefore, this person did not reveal them to any, this chief operation manager or his immediate manager, immediate superior. Without being absent, he came to work and did all the relevant duties as usual. Under him, 8 cooking assistants worked. The international conference was over successfully in terms of academic matters. In terms of academic matters, but was not successful in terms of food and beverage service. Food and beverage service. That's the problem. As prepared some food items, because prepared some food items did not meet, because prepared some food items did not meet the customers' needs, and quality of food and beverage was poor standard, making almost all the conference participants dissatisfied. Of course, normally the main 2 organizers, of course, the participants were not supposed to be concerned with the quality of foods and other things. But anyway, so some people are like that. Some people are like that. The main 2, but normally organizers, organizers, of course, they are serious about the quality of food, beverage, beverage, food, all these. Then the main 2 organizers, chairpersons of the conference, took the key resource personnel to a nearby hotel. Key resource personnel. Now, usually this is an international conference, then at least there must be 2 or 3 international, foreign scholars, foreign researchers, to a keynote, key resource. Normally, they are invited to deliver keynote speeches. A specialized, highly talented, and then the professionals who have an excellent track record are invited to deliver, keynote speeches and those things. So therefore, the chair people, these 2 people, they were serious about the quality of food, quality of beverage. So because they were bad, and then these 2 people, managed to treat them to their satisfaction by bearing the cost on their own, by taking their own money. The decision makers of the university and the professional organization was so unhappy. So the nearby hotel, to a nearby hotel, these resource people were taken, right? Then the decision makers of the university and the professional organization were so unhappy about the service provided by the elegance, this hotel, that they stopped doing further business with the hotel. You see what happened? There was a big loss to the hotel. This university was a continuous customer, usual customer. Okay, now the university no longer does business with this hotel. So that is a big loss to this hotel. So therefore, this is a big problem to the hotel. Then what was the main problem? Of course, the losing the market. Lost a very regular customer, corporate customer. University is a corporate customer. That's not an individual person. Then what was the main cause? Main cause of the problem. And now I hope you are intelligent. The main cause is the presenteeism. Main cause is the presenteeism. Main cause is the presenteeism. Okay, I think you can understand. Presenteeism. This person, irrespective of the illness, this person came. He was indeed psychologically ill, not really physically ill, psychologically ill, because of suffering of domestic problems. We can assume, maybe we can infer like this, relating to his spouse. relating to, his maybe children, domestic problem, relating to his parents, maybe. So then psychological presenteeism. Psychologically, this person was ill. Irrespective of the illness, which is psychological, this person came to work. So then, he couldn't work as usual. Definitely, he must be a right chef, no? Right chef. But because of the psychological problems, he couldn't perform the relevant duties as usual. Couldn't maybe, the salt too much, or, maybe, bad food. Right. Taste, there no taste, maybe more salty. So likewise, maybe too spicy. Okay, so you can understand, So then how to solve the main problem and other resultant problems now? Of course, the one thing, to take the business back, that's an essential thing. You can maybe, if I am the top manager of this hotel, then I will especially have a special delegation to meet the vice chancellor of the university, or the relevant chair people of the conference, and then I beg pardon, and then I will explain the reason of the problem, and then maybe even for another next conference, maybe we can offer. I will offer my service, food service, and the beverage service. Both are free. Or I will give a big discount. So something like that to regain the market lost. And of course, then you have to think of the presenteeism, and then you have to make all these several interventions. You got from my PowerPoint presentation. They can be applied here. Several interventions we have to propose. Long-term wise, also short-term wise, this employee has to be informed about presenteeism, then has to be counseled, has to be helped. If this chef was a very loyal person, we have to investigate his past productivity, performance, assume excellent, and the loyalty excellent, no intention of leaving the organization within a short time. Then, of course, we have to protect these employees. The key, mission critical employee. The chef is a mission critical employee. Very important employee, contributing to the achievement of mission and vision, also the strategic goals of this hotel. Maybe the company doesn't have a proper process of grievance settlement procedure. The company doesn't have counseling system, a proper counseling system. Perhaps there is no culture of trust between the immediate manager and this chef. So I can remember, another actual incident happened to an accounting related employee who had a serious problem relating to his wife. His wife, started an illegal affair with another person who is the superior to this wife who was an employee in a public organization. So then this guy, was this accounting related employee was suffering seriously mentally from this problem. So then one day he was supposed to collect a huge amount of money, and then supposed to go to the bank, and then supposed to deposit that bank in the account of the owner. But unfortunately, he made a mistake. relating to bank number, bank account number. Then the money was deposited to an account of another person, not the owner. Then immediately understood, and then immediately he went to see the boss, and then explain the reasons and all these things. Then immediately the boss to call the relevant manager of the bank, and then he stopped all the transactions and all these things. Then ultimately the relevant manager, the relevant CEO was able to settle that problem and take the money, which was due to him. Was able to take the money which was due to him. But then he helped this accounting accounting employee, because he was very loyal, very trustworthy. That's why he used this person to the bank. The owner used this person to the bank to deposit the money because of the trust within the owner about this accounting employee. Then he revealed all these things. Then the owner said, "Okay, I will give you 2 days sleep, and then please try to settle your problem. If you need my support, I will give my." Normally I don't finger into personal matters of employees, but anyway, you are a loyal employee, very trustworthy employee. Even in case of personal matters, I will interfere if you need my help seriously. Then he gave the leave. So then prevented the another serious maybe subsequent problems because of presenteeism. Very good example. Right. Okay, then activity 3, the case, short case, right. A female employee who was very beautiful in terms of physical appearance was working in a financial institution. Indeed, this is also an actual case. She was engrossed in attending to her private work while engrossed in attending to private work while she was at work. She met most of her private clients and spent hours while being recorded as being at work. She was giving numerous reasons to be out of the business premises. She was a multi-task coordinator, having a good rapport, good relationship, mutual understanding, good relationship with all, a very popular character. And thus, there were no complaints against her, although she could not cope with institutional targets. She couldn't finish official duties, official targets, but there were no complaints. Especially, she got the support of her immediate superior and top people. She had been gradually building more relationships and regularly used to leave the office. Surprisingly, the immediate superior was covering her work while postponing certain things. Right. Is there a problem in this case? Is there a problem in this case? Why? What may be the reasons for such behavior? How to manage this employee? This is a new form of presenteeism. Here, this employee is not having a physical illness, is not having a mental illness or psychological illness. Might be, but anyway, but normally not a serious mental problem, not a serious physical problem. She's interested in earning money, money hungry person. So earning money by engaging in prostitution, maybe elegant kind of, the different forms of prostitution, elegant form of prostitution. So then the superior also is covering, immediate superior. This is a form of presenteeism. The person, the person comes to work, but the person signs even gives the signature, indicating that the person is working. Person is at work, the official work, but genuinely the person is not at the due work, DUE, the relevant duties, performing relevant duties, but doing something else, personal things or social things, so which have nothing to do with the relevant bank or the owner. Now, this is another form of presenteeism. So normally the definition of presenteeism I gave you is considered as a narrow definition of presenteeism. Now there's a broad definition of presenteeism. So under broad definition of presenteeism, this type of problem comes under presenteeism. It is another form of presenteeism. While being sick, the employee doesn't come to work. But why, the employee comes to work, but not engage in the due work. That's also presenteeism. Okay, then what may be the reasons for such behavior? Yes, bad supervision, bad, availability of backup. Some reasons, which I mentioned, I taught you as causes of presenteeism from my PowerPoint presentation. And how to manage these employee also, based on interventions, you can develop hopefully a good solution. Good solution. Okay, then, all right, then let me go to the final section of today's lecture. That is about this research paper, the coronavirus and the employees, a study from the point of human resource management. An article written by me, published in our journal, Sri Lankan Journal of Human Resource Management, the latest issue, 2020, right? So I wrote this, several months ago, and then, so then you can, one theoretical contribution of this paper, you can see, you can understand corona and its characteristics. So then I'm not going to talk about these things. Already you are aware about these things. If you are not aware, then strongly you are recommended to read the article. Definitely this is a pandemic affecting a very large number of human beings living in an area, and perhaps the most dangerous disease that we have ever faced. The entire world, got affected and is still being affected seriously, even though our situation is controlled. Right. Symptoms of coronavirus, then the best way to prevent and slow down transmission is be well informed about the COVID-19 virus disease, its causes and how to spread, how it is, spreads, right? World Health Organization, right? Okay, then hazardousness of corona. So you can see, some figures of the status of coronavirus impact in the world, at the time of writing, the date of writing this article, finishing this article, was 23rd April 2020. How many deaths? 1,84,280. Now, according to my understanding, more than 10 lakhs. I see the situation getting worse and worse. Then the Sri Lankan situation at that time, on this date, death 7, now it is 11. Then coronavirus cases, infected cases, 330, now more than 2,000. Okay, getting increased. The situation is getting worse and worse. So we feel sorry about that. So therefore, personally, you are responsible. You are also responsible for our protection. Okay, then Corona's impact on employees. There's no any employee working in any organization who is immune to Corona. Certain research studies in the world, in top universities in the world, are being carried out to find out, a medicine, immunization by, vaccine, by still not successful. No one can predict who will get caught and who will not. Okay, so then, right, then in this paper, I attempted to develop certain fears, a theoretical framework that shows certain fears because of Corona, certain fears of employees, which will or may generate within a healthy employee, at least healthy in the sense that the employee is not suffering currently from so-called Corona, COVID-19. He or she may be or might be suffering from one or two or several of other types of diseases like diabetic, high blood pressure, something like that. Anyway, as far as this contest is concerned, not a disease of this most dangerous illness, not a patient of this most dangerous illness, right? Okay, what are the types of fears? If my memory is correct, there are 15 here. There are 15 types. Yes, right. So the first one is fear of getting affected by himself or herself. The employee is scared of the possibility that Corona catches him or her. Then the second fear, the fear of possibility of getting quarantine, self-quarantine. The employee is scared of the possibility of going through quarantine owing to the cases of infected employees or others. Then fear of getting stigmatized by the public and friends is still, our culture is sort of is different. So then the employee who got infected is scared of the possibility of stigmatizing, discrediting, given by the public and friends. Oh, very dangerous. This is a person, who is a patient of Corona. So never go there, never touch, never associate with anyone. So like never go to that home, something, right? Then fear of getting affected by his or her closely loved ones. Maybe not never, never meeting, but maybe temporary, temporary. This stigmatization, maybe temporary. So normally it is temporary, tentative, but still it is possible to have fear of getting affected by his or her closely loved ones. Another fear. The employee is scared of the possibility that Corona catches his or her spouse, children, parents, and other members of the family, who may be nuclear or extended. What is nuclear? Extended means parents are living in that family. Nuclear, parents are not living, and brothers, sisters are not living in that family. Right? Then fear of getting affected by others. Then fear of becoming a cause of spreading the epidemic. Will I be a cause to another person's infection? So that's also fear. So normally a good person doesn't like to be a cause of Corona to other people. Then fear of attending the work. Another one problem. Dangerous. If I go to work, then will I get affected? Then fear of attending the work. Then fear of getting sanctions. Possible, disciplinary action from the, the employer, from the superior. That's also there. If I don't go, what will happen? Will my boss tolerate? Will the owner tolerate? Then for how many, to what extent, how many days? Then fear of peer pressure. Then fear of harsh customer response. Harsh customer response. Another problem, harsh customer response. Then fear of losing. Ask customers, there are some customers, especially we have seen relating to some government officers, in distributing certain subsidiaries, certain, yes, certain, certain government allowances given to the general people. So then, there were many people got together and then were in queues, and then, then they scolded, because of the inefficiency, delay happened. So then the relevant officers also get scared. Ask customers, they might even hit, fear of losing the job. The other thing is, that's the terrible thing. Fear of losing. The employee is scared of the possibility that the employee terminates. The employer, sorry, the boss, the organization terminates his or her employee on disciplinary ground, or into acute absence, severe tardiness, disengagement, low performance, and even fear of continuity of the business. That's another fear. Continuity of the business. Then fear of inability of implementing plans. Some people have a lot of plans. Even our academics, they have a lot of plans. But now there's a big problem of implementing that. Then fear of inability of formulating new plans for better future. There's another problem. Then fear of loss of pursuits of pleasure. Some people were used to various pursuits of pleasure. They were used to enjoy by doing certain things. Now they can't. Of course, when we were having curfew, nobody could go anywhere. Fear of loss of pursuits of pleasure. And some people, you could, I think you witnessed. I think you witnessed that, the when we, after several days, after releasing curfew, that was imposed for several days, and then, the queues, the people struggling, to get liquor because they were used to have liquor. Then without liquor, they made domestic problems, even engage in domestic problems. Okay, all right. So then you can see. So then what I call is, these all types of fears above, as a consequence, the person becomes stressful. Then this is stress has been labeled by me stress by corona, SBC. Okay, so it is defined in this paper as what the employee experiences internally in response to corona, he or she finds difficult to deal with. Okay, right. So therefore, this, the figure types of employee fear owing to coronavirus. So you can understand then, but I have not discussed, how to face on the part of the human resource manager, how to face this, how to reduce, how to manage this stress being suffered. Okay, so then yes, that's a separate discussion. But there is another useful. There are several articles, but another useful article I uploaded. I uploaded. So that was written by our assistant lecturer Sri Opatha. So then please refer to that also. She has discussed 7 HR strategies, HR things. HR things. So if you refer to that paper, HR things like, communicate all the necessary actions taken by the organization to employees, because the organization has to take various things, and also pay cuts instead of layoff. Definitely some organizations in Sri Lanka, they have done pay cutting. No allowances, bonuses, other things. Then encourage sick employees not to come, stay home. Then conduct medical tests, especially when we do selection. Then create special employee resource groups, teams we have to develop who have good understanding about this corona, presenteeism, and all these things. Okay, so then the employee, human resource manager, has to work, has to play a big role in managing this corona situation, in managing employees under corona or with corona. So several HR things, teleworking, telecommuting, compressed work week, those things, alternative work schedules will have to be introduced. Then accordingly, certain HR policies, procedures will have to be developed. Rules will have to be developed. Then performance evaluation. Now we can't, mainly, should be based on research. We have to give the research targets because, as I mentioned earlier, work is not a place. Work is a thing. Work is a thing. It's not a place. Okay, so the but the thing is, I don't know. I heard about several pay cuttings, or done by some organizations, but I wonder, they didn't have, whether they did not have reserves from previous profits. They must be, before corona, they must be having profits. I know that some companies, they got huge percentages of net profits. So then, they have to tolerate, they have to sympathize, they have to empathize. And they should not do, big pay cuttings. Anyway, even there may be an implication further. In future, some companies tend to increase the machinization, automation, by reducing the number of employees, so that they can control, they can meet, so-called social distance. So-called, the social distance, and what about all these sanitizing, all these things, easy to manage, then easy to manage a fewer number of employees. But that is not good, if you, from the HRM point of view, it's not good, because there are employees who are going to be redundant, who are going to be jobless. Then they might become criminals. They might do bad things. They don't have alternatives. Of course, we have agriculture. Sri Lanka, so of course we have to develop Sri Lanka by mainly engaging in agriculture. But nowadays, many people are not used to agriculture. They have no motivation of engaging in the agriculture. Once we had an excellent agriculture, once, our country was self-sufficient in agriculture. There were great farmers. That's why there's a statement called the farmer is qualified. After, cleaning dirty things, muddy and all this, the father is qualified to become even the king. Okay, so then no problem, those jobless people, if they have lands, if they have the relevant capital, they have the relevant support, they can become great farmers. Then they will become entrepreneurs, self-employed people, not depending on others, not seeking employment, but creating employments. Right. Okay, then, so new things now, the HR people, yesterday also, one of my students, who is a serious manager in a big company, came to see me to give some wishes to my birthday. So so then he told, now he had to develop certain new training programs about, this corona and all these things, how to manage people. Then how to deal with customers, because that company engage in service industry. There are many new things now to which we have to get used to. If the corona situation goes for another say according to some predictions, another 2 years, unfortunately, I assume there will not be a right medicine. We wish and pray that there will be a right medicine, but who knows? Who knows that this is a terrible punishment, terrible, punishment given by the nature, given by the God. Who knows? Because we are too greedy and doing many bad things. We are taking so many things, even including animals, all these things, destroying the ecological balance, destroying the nature, natural environment. So the last week, no, I think last week the green HRM, yes, I can't remember right. Yes, last week I talked about the green HRM, isn't it? Not the absenteeism, right? Before the green HRM, right? It was absenteeism, if my memory is correct, right? Okay, but so then under green HRM, you can see, so we have to think of the nature. We have to be eco-friendly. We have to be an ecologist. We have to be a nature lover. We have to protect the nature. The nature doesn't belong to us. Nature belongs to every creature in the world. We are only one type of creatures, humans and non-humans, right? Okay, then I think this is enough now. Any questions? You can unmute and then you can ask. Any questions? If you have. So then, if you don't have any questions, okay, then let me finish. Right. Let me finish. Then I wish you all the best. Good night.
Good night, sir.